Konami has two very cool Tiny Toon Adventures games for Sega Genesis and Super NES.
The animation gives you a
Real cartoon feel. On Super NES, play Buster Bust Loose, Spin Kick and Mad Dash through 11 toony levels. Sound great? On Sega Genesis, play Buster's Hidden Treasure, an island adventure
to find the fortune before
Montana Max.
Play a tune on Sega Genesis or Super NES.
What are you looking at? Get your own games.
They're tiny, they're toony, it's the Tiny Toons, a cartoon that I love. It had an edge that sometimes got away with a lot more than Animaniacs, so sometimes the animation wasn't good, but everything else was. Even the cast of characters were great. It received a reboot this year that I haven't seen. Wait a minute. But of course, with a show this popular comes merchandise, cereal, really anything to slap on Tiny Toons was made, and that includes video games. Today's game is the only one I've played that wasn't the Genesis game, and maybe a little bit of the NES one. Tiny Toons Adventures Buster Bust Loose, boy is that a mouthful, is a SNES game released in February 1993 in North America, June 24, 1993 in Europe, and December 18, 1992 in Japan, where it was simply known as Tiny Toons Adventures, which only makes it harder to distinguish from the NES game of the same name. So the game has three difficulties: easy, also known as children, normal, and hard, also known as challenge. Children essentially gives you more health at the cost of taking out most levels or bosses, and shortening the length significantly of the levels that weren't taken out. So essentially, you're not even playing the whole damn game. Sounds like fun, doesn't it? Yeah, I figured. So, no more it is. Although for some reason, easy is the only one to allow you to use passwords. Oh yeah, I forgot about these. Every level starts and ends with a cutscene. There isn't a plot, as none of them really connect all that well. Instead, it's more like each level is its own set of episodes. That's honestly a really good idea, and it helps that the writing is mostly down to the T and on par with the show. Plus, when it's funny, it can be funny. And then there's also some duds. So why did they go with film reels? It doesn't really fit with most of the game aside from the ending. It's a cool touch, but it doesn't really fit in terms of theme. Buster Bust Loose is your typical platformer for the Super Nintendo. You can move left and right, but also crouch with the D-pad down. You can also jump with the B. Alright, let's try it on this enemy. What the? Let's try that again. What am I doing wrong? Okay. One last. Well, it turns out that to attack you use the X and Y button. Doing so will allow you to do this awkward flip attack that moves in an arc and is way more awkward to use than Crash Bandicoot's jump. You end up either hitting an enemy or plain up, straight up missing. So far it doesn't seem to reinvent the wheel. But this is where the dash comes in. By either pressing the L or R shoulder buttons, which allows you to temporarily gain speed. Oh ho ho ho, you know what that means. Whee! You've got these bars that represent the dash, and each time they turn from pink is to yellow, that's how you know the dash is diminishing. That also means that if all the bars are yellow, that means that you're out of dash and you need to wait for it to replenish or get these statue trophy things. But my problem is the fact that the bars always run out too quickly. It can lead to a lot of awkwardly stopping for no reason, but also cause a lot of unfair deaths. Another thing you can only do in easy is attack the enemy by simply dashing. Doing it in any other difficulty will just simply hurt you. So you're either going to have to slide you pressing the down on the D-pad or jumping. Dashing also allows you to climb up walls and essentially wall jump from wall to wall. Now if there's one thing I dislike about this game, it's the dashing sections. Let me make myself more clear. The parts where the camera is moving, you always have to keep yourself on your toe, meaning you are always dashing, and pray to God that you can actually make it through. Alright? Oh, come on, that went too fast. These nets are also annoying since if you don't dash into them, you Wait, why can't I go up? Why can't I go up? Why can't I? Whoops, dang it, and now I have to pay the consequences. Whoops, dang it. Ah! I can't even... What is going on? There goes Buster. Bye-bye now. Come on, you know what? That's it. We're moving on.
It's time for random trivia!
As a kid, I especially struggled a lot with this part here. In fact, it was so hard for me that this was what usually killed me. Yeah, you heard me. The ropes hurt you if you touch them. Nowadays, however, especially when I was doing a record footage for this review, I managed to do it with an absolute breeze. Why did I struggle with this part anyway? If there's one thing I gotta admit is that the graphics look really good. They are very colorful and the animations are for the most part fluid. Yeah, sometimes the art style can be inconsistent, but for the most part, this game aged well visually. Also, I like this idle animation. Between levels, there are the Wheel of Game, which is based on the Wheel of Comedy, the third episode. The game will spin the wheel, and whatever you land on, you get to do their minigame, bonus game. First off, Sweetie. If you want the pure definition of luck, then try out her bonus game. Essentially, the objective is to choose a character and see if what you chose is heavier than the opponent's choice. That doesn't really sound so bad until you realize that your opponent basically almost always has the advantage. I mean, sure, sometimes you may win, but that's only sometimes since the opponent will usually always get the most wins. Not a fan, honestly. Next up, Plucky. You just press a single button and random things happen. That's pretty much it. At least in this one, there's a chance that you can actually win by getting a row, but it's still pretty random and luck based. Then there's verbal squash. Your main goal here is to essentially hit the ball to the wall and then rinse and repeat for several times until the time runs out. The controls are fine, although I do wish that they made verbal less sluggish and a little more faster. But overall, I'd say I probably had the most fun with this one. If only I didn't suck at it. Next up is Hampton. And oh my god, what are these controls? It's weird. I don't know why they felt the need to enforce the D-pad controls. when you press up, you go down. When you press left, you go right, and etc. and etc. I don't know why they felt the need to do that. But essentially, you can move around blocks, and your main goal is to make a path for Hampton to eat all the other apples. Aside from the weird controls, this is another easy one. You're not really going to get all of the apples, but you're going to get most of them. Seeing as how I didn't manage to get Bab's bonus game yet, we're taking a detour from talking about bonus games. Stay tuned as I head back to talking about the actual games. Right now. I'll be honest, the Spooky Mansion is my least favorite. Now don't get me wrong, a Spooky Mansion level isn't out of place for Tiny Toons. I mean, they did do an entire Halloween special, but here's where my problems come in. This level has the most annoying enemies of all times. Never mind the fact that the ghost and the fruitcake monster thing. Seriously, what is that? Don't mess well in style compared to Buster himself, but the ghosts keep coming and coming with no stop. Seriously, look at this. The fruitcakes disguise themselves as the weed ball and only come out when you're close, or after that they just stay in that form forever for some reason. The three-headed trolls take 3 or 4 attacks, but each one pushes him back. And stupid Dracula and his stupid bats that refuse to die.
Come on!
In fact, I struggled so much that I had to get my older brother Paul. And he struggled just as much. And seeing as how I somehow went this far without talking about them, what about the minuscule bosses actually present? Well, honestly, they're the weakest part of the game. Like Dizzy, for example. Instead of simply attacking him, you're supposed to feed him the sweets and desserts of the cafeteria while avoiding his thin tornado by breaking the laws of physics. I know Toons defy the laws of physics, but this is just silly. An interesting idea for a boss, but unfortunately that also makes it pathetic. There you go! Time for bed! Or how about the wolf security guard from earlier? Well, he's also pathetic. All you have to do is attack and dodge his dash. He might be even more pathetic than Dizzy. Or how about the mad scientist and his machine that you need to knock screws into to avoid the light bulbs? Pathetic! This is where I'm giving credit due to the Genesis game. Yeah, I went with the generic "thank you for saving me," which I am now realizing makes no sense. so sometimes they've been captured, but aren't they more than capable of defending themselves? I mean, they have bombs, arrows, hammers. They are more than capable of defending themselves. But the bosses were way more interesting, having actual depth and strategies instead of just attacking repeatedly. I'd make more comparisons, but that's not the purpose of this review. Oh my god! I'm finally at the rugby level. Okay, for those of you who didn't know, I used to watch gameplays of this level all the time, hoping that one day I could try it. And today, that day has finally come. It's hard. So the life and dash meters are nowhere to be found. Instead, you're automatically dashing. You have 4 chances called downs. Failing to earn a first down on a fourth down play causes you to lose a life. If you succeed in moving the ball at least 10 yards downfield during any of your 4th downs, you earn a first down and get another 4 downs to move the ball at least 10 more yards downfield. You got 2 options. You can either run or pass. Running involves you going to the right, either jumping or ducking enemies. The enemies will get you because there are many of them, and it's pure luck. Frobo tries to help defend you, and it usually works, but there's also a 50-50 chance he fails. But what about passing? Well, the ball is thrown high into the air, and the map appears detailing where you are and where the ball is. The ball landing spot is on the X, and the best thing to do is to jump to grab it. I don't like how once you do manage to grab, you always run into an enemy. Always. No matter what. When it's not the enemy, it's how awkward and finicky getting the ball is. I mentioned jumping, but that's actually the only one that worked for me, because I'd always be too late and it'd already be on the floor, making me go a long while back, and makes me choose the 2 options again. The enemies also always seem to be plentiful and hard to dodge. Plus, they are random, meaning you need to guess whether to jump or duck. So you know what? I use cheat codes, more specifically the unlimited lives for this level as well as the other levels. I just couldn't do it, I'm sorry. And if I did it without them, I would have wasted a lot of my lives. So yes, Your Honor, I have no shame. Oh well, at least I had a little bit of fun, even if it was more rage than fun. And at least the music is good. Probably the best part about it. Well, that was the same, wasn't it? But hey, at least the next level is Fresh Breather. The next level was actually a real refresher and of the soothing music. So sometimes I fell, but it was an absolute breeze. That is until you read the book where everything starts to crumble. And it's another dashing sequence. Only this time, you not only get to make Buster jiggle like crazy, seriously, what is happening? But this is even more frustrating than the last dashing. Since you move vertically, the camera also moves vertically, but it moves so fast, too fast, to the point that sometimes I get unfair deaths, like these.
Eventually.
I mentioned that when you die a lot, it will cause you to see this game over screen a lot. Sweetie, please stop staring at me like that. So the final level is a Star Wars parody. Warner Brothers making fun of a Disney property. At least the stormtroopers here are actually more competent than the ones from Star Wars. What confused me for a bit was the fact that when you first start off in this stage, you have to go left, not right. But they don't tell you that, so I was a little confused on that. But other than that, the stages itself weren't actually that bad. Maybe the enemies felt cheap, maybe the ball spheres were kinda annoying to deal with. And in this part here, every so often, the screen goes to white because of an explosion. That takes out your life. So, what you're supposed to do is hide behind this wall thing. But the problem is you don't give enough time to do that, so you will end up losing all your life to that white void. But now that I'm listening to the music closer, does anyone get a vibe from Dynamite Heady? Now in this part here, there's two paths you can choose, easy and hard. Easy is so much of a breeze that I managed to easily do it with the back of my hand. Hard, on the other hand, is flippin' impossible. Things are spaced out way too much to the point that you will always be falling from the lack of dash. Either that or you most likely end up accidentally triggering. And the final boss, well, oh my god, oh god, what is happening? Whoa, oh my god, oh god, what is happening? Whoa, oh my god, oh my god, it's absolute complete randomness. Even though Darth Vader's attacks seem completely random, there is a way to beat him. You have to knock him out of his laser gun and make sure the laser hits him, but you need to avoid the laser. But honestly, as a final boss, it's actually kinda underwhelming. Well, anyway, you defeat Darth Vader, you save Princess Babs, and then the whole thing turns out to be a play. I'm assuming Buster is made it on the set again, which is why he runs off and jumps, ending the game. If you manage to wait through the credits, you'll see that the game now wants you to try challenge mode. No thank you. Overall, I think the game still holds up well, but one of the biggest things that draws it back for me is the difficulty and the amount of cheapness there is to it. There's a lot of cheap, dirty tricks they use in this game. And I don't know, it's just kind of hard to go back to it. Do I recommend it? Of course I do. But you've got to keep in mind, this game isn't an easy breeze. With that being said, I hope you guys are excited for the next game I'm looking at to avoid a certain other game I teased in my Halloween video that I am definitely not desperately avoiding. With that being said, the next game is, let me check you. Crash Bandicoot, Wrath of oh. Damn it. Oh, and the game's music is, for the most part, pretty good, but I wish they'd stop shoehorning the Tiny Toons theme. We get it. It's the Tiny Toons game, but that doesn't mean you have to shoehorn bits of the theme song in every song.